Everybody, I'm Kelly Hogan. Welcome back to my Zero Carb Life. So recently, when I was in meat stock, and you might be thinking, oh my gosh, Kelly, mention meat stock one more time. But while I was there, I met so many great people who shared their stories with me. And one person that I met, her name was Adi. And Adi was telling me a little bit about her story. I said, this is incredible. And she said, well, I have a friend whose name is Sivi. And Sivi also has a great carnivore story, and the two of us have come up with something we want to talk to you about. I was like, okay, I'm intrigued. Said, like, talk to me on YouTube. And she said, we would love to talk to you on YouTube. So please welcome to the show, Adi and Sivi. I'm so glad to have you both here.
Hi, thank you.
For having us.
And you are both right now in Israel as we speak, correct?
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I have not met Savi in person, but Adi was in the middle of moving from the United States to Israel. Had you lived there before, Adi?
Yes, I lived in Israel for 6 years before I moved back.
Okay. And meat stock just sort of happened to fall right in between her moving from the US to Israel. So she came by Pigeon Forge, Tennessee, hung out with a bunch of us carnivores, and now here we are together. So I would like to hear, first of all, Savi, how did you come to carnivore in Israel? How did you find out about it, and why did you decide to give it a try?
Okay, so my story goes back a long time. Even as a child, I was very fit, very active. I always felt really awful if I ate sugar. My parents were both, it was my father and my stepmother, and they were sugaraholics. And like they would eat very healthy. My father's a doctor, so we would eat like what he thought was very healthy, but they would always do that so they could have dessert. And I rejected the dessert and I wanted like more meat. But the meat came with, potatoes and gravy and all the other things. If I went to a birthday party, everybody was fighting for the flour, the icing on the cake. I
Yes.
would cut the cake out of the icing and like give people the flowers. I didn't like the icing or the flowers. I didn't, if I ate an apple, everyone of course said apples are healthy, apples are good. I knew that if I ate an entire apple, I would feel awful. So I think there was something going on even as a fit, healthy, active child. And I grew up in America. I moved to Israel about 20 years ago. So this was all in the US. Then I got married pretty young and I had a bunch of kids pretty quickly. And my weight just completely ballooned. By the time I was 30, just about my 30th birthday, we had just moved to Israel and I was living on a first floor apartment. I had one stair to get into my apartment. One stair. And I was bracing myself for the knee pain to go up that one stair. And I realized that my fingers were also like my joints were swollen. So I went to the doctor and he told me that I had arthritis, just turned 30, and four little kids. And I said at the time, I was like, okay, so what do you do? And he said, there's nothing to do. It just, gets progressively worse. And that's just, that's life. And I feel like it was a blessing because if he had given me some medication, I would have gladly taken it at the time. I also, because my father's a doctor, I don't really think doctors are very magical. They're very real, flawed, normal human beings. So I started doing my own research at the time. The internet was a brand new baby, around then. That was 2003. I found this book about where you would eat basically low carb throughout the day, and then you'd eat whatever you wanted for one meal a day or something like that. And it was kind of, oh, also before that, I had tried Atkins. I had a bunch of extended family doing it. Bunch of my in-laws were doing it. Everyone was like raving. Of course, it wasn't the Atkins, we would recognize today, but it was definitely low carb. I remember trying it for like 2 days and I was passed out on the couch. No concept of keto flu.
Oh,
Everyone else talked about energy. I was completely passed out and I was like, I have at the time 3 little kids when I had tried it. I can't be passed out, like sleeping for hours. It didn't make sense for me. And I put it down. And then for years, I just said, no, Atkins doesn't work for my body. That's that. Fast forward, I don't know, 10 years later, trying all kinds of things. I mean, I was known for healthy eating. I had friends who invited me to come give a talk for young moms on healthy eating.
Oh.
And like I hid vegetables in everything.
Mm.
I cooked also really, really well. My in-laws actually for a while had a restaurant, and I cooked for them for a while because my food was like really yummy. I mean, people really liked it, and also considered really healthy because I could sneak vegetables anywhere. You wouldn't know it. I could prepare them really delicious, and I liked them. I mean, at the time we had a nice relationship, me and the veggies. So I thought you're kind of a slave to them. I mean, they need 24-hour care between the buying them and preserving them and making sure they're fresh and I mean, but I thought I was doing the right thing. So very, very long story short, went through a lot of different ups and downs, a time where I was going to the gym. I cut out sugar at one point. I was eating tons of dates, but all sugar. And that was a very interesting thing. I remember telling my doctor, okay, I had this amazing doctor. He knew about my cutting out the sugar. And I said, I hear in my voice, this voice saying that if I don't eat sugar, I'm going to die. I know it's not true, but I can hear it as plain as day. And he said, that's probably your gut microbiome dying and trying to get you to eat sugar, like the bad ones.
Yeah.
That was a really interesting concept. I always thought, when I finished having babies, because every time I lose weight, I mean, I have 6 children, thank God, and I kind of went up and down with pregnancies and nursing, and a lot of people lose weight when they're nursing. I would always continue. I'd gain weight with pregnancy, lose a little bit, and then gain more weight when I was nursing. At the age of 39, I had already had the arthritis diagnosis, which launched me into a whole bunch of things. Right, I stopped eating nightshades. I learned about nightshade vegetables. So that's like eggplant and peppers, tomatoes, potatoes, basically the Mediterranean diet. I live in Israel, like that's what we eat here, Don't eat anything Israeli, don't eat Mediterranean diet because it is all nightshades. That helped a lot. I cut out dairy. That helped a lot over the years, cut out sugar. And at one point I tried a juice fast. So I did a 5-day juice fast. Again, trying to be as healthy as I could. One of the things also that definitely had changed years ago around the rheumatoid arthritis diagnosis, maybe a year after, I went through a rather traumatic experience. And I also noticed that my body reacted by being more sensitive to sugars. So I knew that the sugars made me feel awful. So that's why I tried going off of sugar, but I was still doing things like whole grains and spelt and tons of dates and, making all these different recipes and apples and fruits and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't what we would call low carb. I didn't get to low carb again, fast forward, okay, until quite a few years later. And I was walking and I was trying to be healthy, but my weight was just falling apart, really, really heavy. And I remember once specifically, I bent down to pick up something from the floor and I couldn't stand up. My husband had to help me up. I just was frozen. My back, I could not stand up. And I felt like how can I do this? Again, I had 6 children. I really didn't think I could continue even just living because my weight was just out of control despite everything I was trying to do. And the pains were starting, and now all these things. So I found paleo at the time. I went paleo for I don't know, maybe a week or two. And I noticed within the paleo that when I ate low carb paleo, and I knew a lot about carbs. My background actually, I'm trained as a home birth midwife. So I know a lot about nutrition and all of those things. I know what carbohydrates are and that kind of thing. So I looked up low carbohydrate paleo to see if it was a thing in the world, and I stumbled across keto.
Oh.
And I found you, Kelly. You were one of the first people that I found. And because of you, I said, I will never do carnivore. That's crazy. I you were talking about your burger patties, and your husband was making the burger patties for church, and when everyone's going to eat their ice creams and stuff, and you were so happy, and I thought, she's insane. She's just like high or crazy, because who could be happy like that? I mean, she's just nuts. I'm like, I'm never going to do that. So I ended up doing keto for 3 years.
Oh,
During that time, I did try carnivore for 3 months, but I did what I would call now very dirty carnivore. I mean, it wasn't anything like the carnivore I know about today. Most people have an issues with their bowels, like diarrhea. I have one big problem is I was completely regular. Fiber loved me. Okay, everything was perfect.
oh,
I'm like the opposite of most people. When
yeah.
I switched to carnivore, keto, fine. Carnivore, constipation.
Oh,
Opposite. So when I tried it then for those 3 months, I couldn't fix the problem. I couldn't find anyone to help. Everyone was talking about the runs,
yes.
you know. So I stopped that, went back onto keto, and then and my knees were just hurting me. I was still having so much pain. It was around Corona time. I had kids homeschooling. I'm like, forget it. I don't have time for this. I'm just gonna maintain what's going on now, because my body's still aging. I'm still having all these aches and pains. Again, now I know about oxalates and vegetables, and the keto diet is very high oxalate. Didn't know that at the time. So I tried to maintain for about 10 months, got very sick, gained back all the weight.
Oh,
Um, Aside the fact that maintenance for me, because I am definitely an abstainer, so maintenance meant a lot of carb creep in all kinds of different, treats and ways, and, that kind of thing. I'm also a volume eater. I love that you share with us that idea. I am a volume eater.
yeah.
But now looking back, also, I know that my satiety signals were absolutely a mess. My leptin, I definitely had leptin resistance. I mean, I was just a mess. I went back on keto, planning to just try it for a couple weeks to maybe get things under control, really not wanting to, feeling very grumpy about it. At the end of those 7 weeks, I was like, girl, if you don't do this, you're not living. Like, if you want to be here for your kids, you need to commit to this to life. That's it. Suck it up. Like, you get to choose. Like you say, Kelly, choose your heart,
Yep.
you know? So, kicking and screaming, I went back onto keto, and I did that for half a year or so until I was like, you got to do carnivore. Got to do carnivore. And by then, I already had fallen in love with you, Kelly.
Oh,
And it took me a while to realize you were the same girl with the burger patties that I thought was insane. And so yeah, so I was saying about half a year after keto is when I went on to carnivore. So in the beginning, again, I cook really yummy vegetables. So I wouldn't cheat on cupcakes. I would fall into like a bowl of cabbage salad or something like that's
yeah.
that was really hard for me in the beginning. And I was still doing sweeteners and everything. It took me a while. Again, it was definitely you. So I was saying I love everyone's channels, but you, Kelly, every single week. For me, Saturday is Shabbat, so I don't listen on Saturday, but I'm anyways in Israel. I'm ahead of you. So Sunday with Kelly, like
Oh,
like religiously, okay?
awesome.
I consume every video that you put out, and I learned so much from it. So I did go to carnivore, and the miracle is that okay, so now I'm 52, so it'll be still a couple months before it's 3 years on carnivore. But when I made that switch, so I was right in menopause. I had been having perimenopause symptoms for about 8 years. I was waking up every single morning drenched in sweat. My entire chest would
Oh,
be soaking wet. Oh my gosh, it was horrible. Even in the winter, it was just absolutely horrible for about 8 years.
oh,
And at that point, I was also waking up about every 2 hours for the bathroom. Like, you're like, I don't have a little baby anymore. I can
yeah.
focus on myself. No, my bladder was my little baby.
Oh,
Every 2 hours in the bathroom all night. It was horrible. When I switched from keto to carnivore, within that 24-hour period, I slept through the night and I woke up completely normal, no night sweats. Amazing. Insane. So that was enough to convince me that like this is a good thing.
yes.
Eventually, I cut out the sweeteners, got the food noise quieter, And I have never been able to do coffee. I had to cut out coffee a long time before because even decaf makes me hyper and jittery.
Mm.
I get like crazy. So, so it just doesn't work for me. So I eventually went to Lion Diet because once you cut it out, you can see, if I experiment with chicken or eggs or something and I immediately have the joint pains, I know. Eventually, I think I forgot I was diagnosed with fibromyalgia.
Oh,
Eventually, in my whole story, I got lipedema, which used to hurt me also when I with the keto, even before the carnivore, the lipedema pain went away. It's gone. Like it used to be if my kids would touch me, if the cat walked across me, if anything, I was so sensitive to the touching. And I've also lost weight. I forgot to tell you, I was up to 240 pounds. Forgot about the weight because that's
yeah.
like, and I got down, was 154, I think. So 3 months ago, I switched to the really nice, like Dr. Berry says, panda massaged meat, right? Like really nice meat. Totally helped. It took a couple weeks for it helped immediately with the hot flashes, but after a couple weeks, now I'm like 3 months into it now. Amazing, amazing. They're gone. I don't recall the last time I've ever had one. Like they're
Oh,
gone. They're gone. Part of me that says I will never enjoy food again. I'm gonna die. Like all kinds of things. But I remember feeling that when I went carnivore,
yeah.
and then when I went lion, I'll
Yeah.
never have joy again. But I'm satiated. I'm fine. I'm not starving. I have survived.
Wow, I have written down so many questions. First of all, what makes kosher carnivore different from what I would call carnivore?
Well, on the days when you only eat dairy or you only eat meat, I remember you were saying that sounds like some kind of a weird kosher practice. I remember I was laughing in my kitchen. I was like, because you don't eat meat and dairy at the same time. If you
Oh,
eat,
that's right. Yeah.
yeah, if you eat dairy, some people wait an hour or rinse out their mouth before they're having meat. But if you eat meat, you have to wait 6 hours. Or some people have 3 hours, yeah, but most people wait 6 hours before having dairy. So that's one of the things you can't put, cheese on your burger or something
Yep.
like that. We don't use pork, so we can't have bacon. There's no purse bacon, or
Right.
anything like that. So most recipes are going to be very different. Most people's lifestyle, kosher meat's already more expensive to begin with. It goes through a different slaughtering process. It gets salted. It's also a little bit more salty. It's a little bit of different profile. There are
Mm.
parts of the animal that we don't eat that are not kosher. If you're having liver, it also needs to be grilled to get the blood out. Like there's a lot of different like fine tuning things.
I think your story is fascinating for so many reasons. But for one, you were trying to be the epitome of healthy with all of the vegetables all of the time. And for any of you watching, I bet the name Sally Norton is in your mind right now because Sally had gotten where she couldn't go up a step. She was in excruciating pain after having a lifetime of veggies, 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 and fruits, but very plant based in the name of health. This wasn't like a moral thing of, I should not eat meat for moral reasons. This was, I'm trying to take care of myself. And there's probably somebody watching right now who thinks that's me. I'm trying so hard to eat healthy and I'm getting worse and worse and worse. And we all have a limit on how many oxalates our body can take in. Oxalates, for those of you who don't know, are only found in plants, not animal products. And the more we take in, it stores up into our tissues until we have a breaking point. The pain sets in. So, Savi, I am so glad that you shared that. When we talk about constipation, we don't hear it very often. You're right. What we tend to hear is, oh, you go carnivore and stools get loose, and that is sometimes the case. I'm just going to name a few really basic things that people can try. I'm assuming that you have tried most of these, but if you are struggling with constipation, the main thing people will say is up your fats, which I know you had already tried that. Liquid fat tends to send people going, warm liquid rendered fat tends to send people to the restroom a little quicker. Magnesium citrate, taking an Epsom salt bath with a lot, like a full bag of Epsom salts in a really warm bath for about 20, 25 minutes. Castor oil on the belly and in the belly button, especially at night. Castor oil is really good to help people get going. There's an intestinal massage. You don't have to literally reach up into your intestines. We do it from the belly. But there are some intestinal massages that, if done with castor oil, I mean, I have many people who were tough cases who were like, okay, well, that made me go. And HCl tablets do help people, especially if they were not eating a lot of meat and now they suddenly are eating a lot of meat. It can help increase their stomach acid to break down the meats. So if any of you are struggling with constipation, those might be, I don't know, 6 things that you could try.
At one point, upping the fats above what I thought was insane did work. That did the trick. But again, when I switched to the grass-fed, which I know it's such a good thing, but everything in my whole digestion changed again. So whatever I knew wasn't working again. And
Okay, so you had found some relief before switching to the grass finished. It was working a little bit.
yeah,
Okay.
so yeah. And one of the things, I just have to thank you that I did when you did that idea that had come from Dr. Boz, but you translated the words into clearly going to ChatGPT and seeing the pictures of your future self.
Yes.
So I did on my channel a video of that with my pictures. I'll send you my pictures.
I'd love that.
So amazing. Oh my gosh. I recommend everybody to do that and go back and hear your video. Can hear the original video, but your video really goes into it and explains how to do that. That is, I think, the best. In fact, I need to print that out and put it on my fridge. The best motivation when you see the 2 different outcomes. Because even if I never figure it out, I never fix it. If I just keep doing what I'm doing, it's an entirely different life. I'm fine tuning now.
Right.
I want to be better. I'm a carnivore. I should be the perfect weight. I should be the perfect health. Like, I feel like, why not? I can also serve God. I can serve my family. I can make the world a better place. I wasn't doing much of anything. If I went out and I went to the grocery store, I was collapsed on the couch. Like, what was I doing at the time? I had no energy. I was in pain. I didn't want my family to have to take care of me, and I didn't want to live in a body that hurt all the time. Now I'm like working, running, I'm always, doing something. So it's just fine tuning and figure it out.
Right. So we've gotten some relief from, well, a lot of relief, it sounds like, from arthritis, fibromyalgia pain, the oxalate. Did you go through a lot of dumping symptoms, like crystals in the
I
eyes,
think
skin?
I didn't have like the crystals coming out or anything. I would just again have waves of being more achy,
Yeah.
and it's always these fibromyalgia arthritis types of things, and then it would get better. And then there was one point, I also have I still, even till today, I get a lot of, in Hebrew, it's avnit. It's the stuff on your teeth that's like little rocks that you can chip off,
Yes.
right? And I know lots of people say it totally goes away on carnivore. Not for me.
Mine did not go away until about 2 years ago. So you're talking 14 years of
Yes.
carnivore, of me just picking it off. I never had a cavity during that time. My gums didn't bleed. It was just, I just chip off the little white behind my lower teeth. And then it was fine, but I don't get it at all anymore.
So that got a lot worse for me in the beginning, and I think that was my oxalate dumping.
Me too.
I still have it somewhat, but much better. There was like a switch at some point where things got better, about like maybe a year and a half in or something. But as you're saying about the cavity, I had gone to a dentist who was like, "Oh, you have a whole bunch of cavities." And by the time I made my appointment to come back and get a filling, and I really never, I had maybe 2 cavities in my whole life. And it took a couple months to like get my appointment, come back, come my filling, and they're like, "You don't have any cavities. Your teeth are fine."
Ah,
And yeah, so it's been a couple of years now, and I'm just keeping an eye. Thank God, every time I go, I do need to get the teeth cleaning again because of but they're just like, "Oh, okay, you're fine. You can go." Like, awesome, great. Oh, and also you mentioned bleeding gums. I was having cold sensitivity. I was having bleeding gums.
yeah.
That's just gone.
Me
You
too.
forget how many. I think there needs to be like a whole questionnaire before you go carnivore of like all those little things, like you just don't even think about those things anymore.
You're right. And I had a couple of cavities that my dentist told me would need to be filled right before I cut out carbs. And that has now been over 20 years ago. Never had them filled, never been mentioned. Like, did they get better? I guess, because I've never had anything done about them. No more mention. Pretty cool. Yeah. Hey, you know what I think we should do? And I've had to do this before. So, Savi, I've had an amazing conversation with you, and I think this could be its own episode. So, here's what I'm thinking, ladies. Let's take a quick little intermission and record part two, which will be a second episode. Everybody can come back and watch next Saturday to get the rest of the story, get Adi's story, and then find out what the two of you are working on together, which is also really exciting. So, before we break for today, I love the fact, Savi, that you have been at this carnivore thing for 3 years. And in a way, we think, oh, 3 years, like she should have it all figured out by then. I didn't. I didn't at 3 years. And there are things that I still go through and tweak now, like discoveries about the fat fasting. For anybody that was a little confused about the whole meat and dairy thing, the reason I separate meat protein from dairy is not a religious reason. For me, it's because my weight will go up quickly if I combine the two. I mean, I've proven that over and over. Cheese with meat or cream in my coffee plus meat at the same time. So I always try to put at least 4 hours between. And somebody had told me, oh, that sounds like Jewish law. And I was like, is it? So yes, there is something there about that. For me, it was scale based, but it is kind of cool. You think, well, the Lord knew everything from the beginning. So maybe, he was on to something with that one.
Nowadays, they tell everybody to take a break from your cell phones for like at least one day a week. They say like it's really good to detox
Yeah.
one day a week. And we're like, we have 25 hours every week with no media and no cell phones and it's interesting. I went for a walk today. I actually live really near the coast. So I went for a walk to the beach. It was lovely. And I heard some music, some chimes from somewhere, and I realized that I was about to like look to my purse to see if my phone, so I'm like, it can't be me. Like just take that like relaxation. Like there are a lot of things that we sometimes discover, and my kids will say like, "Wow, how that was, we've been doing that for thousands of years, but only now in today's society we're discovering how good that is."
The day of rest that God has told us to do all along, a day of rest. You're right. Science is now saying, it turns out
Turns
that's
out.
pretty important. Yeah. And we don't tend to think of this being part of not rest, but boy, does it drain us all mentally.
The detoxing from the media and the cell phone is probably the most impactful part of Shabbat for me.
I believe that.
Just knowing that no one can reach you,
Yes.
it's just gone. It's
Here in
it's really
America,
nice.
if somebody gets on an airplane for a flight for, let's say, an hour, and they don't turn on electronics, we actually have a name for that, and they call it raw dogging. They'll be like, and they will post about it. They'll say, I raw dogged this whole flight. We're talking, all it means was you didn't have like digital stimulation for one flight. And we're awfully proud of ourselves if we do it because that's how ingrained it is every moment of every day. Hey, I've learned a lot from you. Let's do it again and come back and talk to these folks next Saturday. For any of you who are watching, if any part of this resonated or struck a chord with you, if anything, it's like, you know what? I'm still having some pain. Maybe I could try lion diet, or I'm still struggling, but I am having a lot of pork, dairy, and grain finished meat. I'll tell you that I am able to eat pork, dairy, not with my meats, but dairy on its own, grain finished meat, and it is working for me right now. I feel really good. But if you're not feeling really good and you're still including sugar, nightshades, dairy, pork, whatever it is, I love that Savi was willing to keep going the next step, to keep investigating, to be a happy little scientist and figure out what would happen if, all in the name of, I don't want to hurt. I want to be useful to my family. I want to be able to serve God. I want to be out of pain. And I want to live longer and happier due to not hurting. So anybody watching, whatever step you are on, maybe you haven't even cut out the added sugar yet. Maybe you're still just eating the junk and don't even know where to start. The sugar, the gluten, nightshades, those are really good places to start. And hopefully you can start feeling a difference in your joints and maybe your skin and swelling and your sleep and the night sweats. Sometimes it happens really quickly. So if you need help with that, I have a group linked below. Also, I'm going to link to all of the resources that these ladies send me, and we hope to see you back next Saturday so you can hear the rest of the story. Okay, see you later. Bye.